Hello, my dear students. I hope you're doing well at home and you're keeping yourself fit and fine. I am Anamika and I will be teaching you science for this session. Today, we are going to learn about a very interesting topic which is known as photosynthesis. I'm quite sure that you have learned about this topic in your previous grades or in your previous classes. But today, let's all again go through this topic and learn a little bit more about this. Okay, so beginning with the word photosynthesis. Talking about the word photosynthesis, the word was derived from Greek word which means photo, which means light. And the another part, synthesis, means combination or combining together. Combining together with the help of light. So, the word photosynthesis, as I said, the word photo means light and synthesis means combining together with the help of light. This is the derivation of the word photosynthesis. Now, as we humans, we need food to live. Similarly, the plants also, they need food to eat and make themselves a healthy one, right? So what the plants do, they also make food for themselves, right? And that process which they use for making the food is known as photosynthesis. So in our simple terms, we can say that photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food with the help of three basic components. They are carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. So the components of the photosynthesis are sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. The plants make use of these three components to make their food. As it is shown in the diagram, you can see on the right side, it's sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. On the left side, you get the oxygen and sugar. Now, see, this photosynthesis is a biological process. It also involves a chemical reaction. Now, as you can see in the diagram, how it occurs. So how it occurs, in this process, what the plants do, they absorb water from the soil through their roots and take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which we humans or other living organisms release in the atmosphere. And they trap the energy of sunlight from the sun. And then they make use of these three components, they make use of these and they produce food for themselves, which is the glucose or the sugar. Now, as I said, it is a chemical reaction. So the reaction can be written as carbon dioxide plus water, and what we get, the byproducts we get here is glucose and oxygen. Now, oxygen is released into the atmosphere, which we human beings consume for our survival. And the glucose, they use it as a supply of energy for themselves. Now, how it takes place? In simple words, how it takes place? It takes place how the plants, they absorb water from the soil, trap sunlight from the sun, take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and they put it together or combine together with the help of light and they produce glucose or the sugar, which is their food. Now, the next question comes, where it occurs, where photosynthesis occurs. Now, photosynthesis occurs in the leaves. It occurs in the leaves. See, I have a leaf with me here. So these leaves, they contain cellular organelles which are known as chloroplast. These chloroplasts, they contain chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment. chlorophyll. The chloroplast contain chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment. And this is because of this chlorophyll which trap the sunlight from the sun. There in the leaves they have tiny pores, okay, tiny openings which are known as the stomata. And it is these true stomata or these tiny openings through which the sunlight enters, and in the chlorophyll or in the chloroplast the whole process takes place. The process takes place inside the chloroplast, which is present in the epidermis of the leaves. So this is about where it takes place and how it occurs. The next, what we get from the products. What are the products of the photosynthesis? The products are oxygen and glucose. Now, once the process is done and we get oxygen, the oxygen is released in the atmosphere, but they keep the glucose for themselves. Then after once the food is made, they transfer or transport to the different parts of the plants. Once the food is made in the leaves, then they transport it to the flowers, to the stem, root, branches, fruits, etc., etc. They transport it to the whole plant. Now, again, see what we humans do. When we make food for ourselves, we consume it, but we don't consume all at once, right? If there is some leftover, we just keep them in the refrigerator or we store them somewhere else for our future use. And similarly, the plants also do the same thing here. The glucose which they make, they don't consume it immediately. They keep it for their future use also, or they store it in the plant cells. Now, how do they store that? Since, as I have said, glucose is a sugar. Glucose is what? It is a sugar. And sugar are what? Sugar belongs to a group of chemicals which are known as carbohydrates. So you can also say that plants produce carbohydrates. What are carbohydrates then? Carbohydrates are nothing but they are what? Sugar or the fibers or starch that we find in our everyday vegetables and fruits. Okay? Now, the plant does not store the glucose as it is because glucose is soluble in water. Why it cannot store? Because as I have said that in these leaves, they have some cell organelles and they have vacuoles also where they store water. So, since glucose is soluble, so they cannot store it in the plant cell as it is. For that, what they need to do? They have to convert this glucose into a form of carbohydrate, which is starch. So what the plants do? The plants convert the glucose into the starch so that they can store it for their future use in the chloroplast. Now what is starch? Starch is nothing but starch is a long chain of glucose molecules. It is a long chain of glucose molecules. Why they have to convert it into starch? Because glucose is soluble, so they cannot store the glucose in the leaves, as the leaf cells also have water, so they have to convert it into starch and then they store it. Because they are long chains of glucose molecules, so they do not get soluble in the water. They are insoluble, so it becomes easy for the plants to store them. Okay? So what we have learned from here? We have learned that photosynthesis is a process by which plants make their own food with the help of sunlight, carbon dioxide and water, and we get the byproducts as oxygen and sugar which we consume it, and the food they use that for themselves, and then they also store something for their future use, converting them into a starch or a form of carbohydrate. So this is about photosynthesis. Interestingly, let me also say who discovered photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, the process, was discovered by Jan Ingenhousz, who was an British scientist. He discovered this process of photosynthesis. Now you might ask me why photosynthesis is important. Photosynthesis is very important and it is a natural phenomenon which occurs in our everyday life, right? Now, why it is important? As I have said, it gives out oxygen, which is the basic for survival of human life. Without oxygen, the human life cannot survive, and as they are the only producers of oxygen, and that's why the process of photosynthesis is very important to take place in our environment. It also helps in keeping the balance chain reaction or food chain, and it also helps in keeping the climate, to control the climatic conditions and all. So this is all about photosynthesis. Now, talking about when we have our food or when we eat something, we not only eat rice and chapatis and dal, we also add some nutrients and nutrients in our diet, right? Similarly, the plants also need those. A plant needs 17 type of nutrients for their healthy growth and development. But at a point of time, the plants don't get those nutrients. And for this, what we need to do? We have often seen farmers or our parents, when we have a garden of our own, we see them spreading or supplying fertilizers to them so that the plants, they can get all the nutrients which they want, and they can, they have a good or healthy, they can grow healthy, right? Yes. So similarly, so what are fertilizers? Now what are fertilizers? Fertilizers are nothing, they are chemical substances which we supply or which we provide to the crops for their productivity or to increase their productivity. And the farmers use them on their regular basis. And then these fertilizers can also be of two types. They can be organic, inorganic, or natural and artificial. If I give examples of natural fertilizers, for example, we can use the vegetable peels from our kitchen, right? Instead of throwing them, we can use as a fertilizer for our own garden. And then like cow dung or the biogas, they are the natural fertilizers, and the artificial fertilizers are something that are man-made or which we get from the market. For example, like ammonium sulfate, nitrate, etc., etc. Now see, as I said, these fertilizers, yes, fertilizers are also very important. They are a food for plants. As I have said that the plants need 17 nutrients, and at the time they don't get all the nutrients from the soil, because of which it becomes essential, for the farmers to provide them fertilizers so that they make a healthy growth. And it's also important to meet the growing demands of the population. Now, there are two main important fertilizers which are given in your textbook, that are nitrate and magnesium. There are nitrate and magnesium. Besides these two, the plants also need potassium, phosphorus, calcium, proteins, etc. The fertilizers, what they do, they contain the mineral salts which the plants need for their development and growth. Now, why do they need nitrate? They need nitrate to make proteins. They need nitrate to make proteins. Why do they need proteins? They need proteins to make new cells. If they don't make new cells, the plant will not grow and it will remain as it is. It will remain small as it is. If the new cells are not made, the plant may also die out. So it's very important for the plants to get nitrate so that they can make proteins, out of which they can make new cells so that they had a healthy growth. Again, magnesium. They need magnesium, why? To make chlorophyll. To make chlorophyll, they need magnesium. If the level of magnesium goes down, then the leaves will turn yellow. As you can see, this leaf is green color because it contains chlorophyll, but if the leaf does not have chlorophyll, enough chlorophyll, the leaf will turn yellow. and because of which the process of photosynthesis will not be able to take place in the leaf, and slowly the leaf will die out and the plant may also collapse. So see, these are the things which are very important for the healthier growth and development of the plant. So as I have said, these fertilizers, these nitrate and magnesium, they are the most important. Besides these, they also need like potassium, nitrate, carbonate, phosphorus, etc. for their growth. Next what we learn, we have learned about photosynthesis, we have learned about fertilizers also. Next what we learn about the importance of water for plants, or why plants need water. So we will learn about this now. See, water is the lifeblood of all the plants. Like we have blood in humans and animals, the plants also have a blood which is the water. Water is a lifeblood for all the animals, for all the plants. Now, why the importance of water are listed out in 4 points. The first point we have here is water for support. Water for support. How water helps, for giving a support to the plant. As I have said that these leaves, okay, they they contain water in the cells. What happens when they have plenty of water in the cells of the leaves leaf looks strong and firm. Okay, the leaves look what? Strong and firm. And when all the leaves in the whole plant are strong and firm, they pressure or they force each other against each other, and the plant gets a well structured. Okay, the plant gets a well structured or well shaped, and you can see the plant growing healthier and larger. Similarly, if the plant does not have a sufficient amount of water in the leaves, what will happen? The leaves will become soft and floppy. The leaves will become soft and floppy, and slowly you can see the plants get wilts out. Plants get wilts out, and slowly the plant may die also. So it is very important that the leaves contain a plenty amount of water in the cells so that they have a healthier growth. For example, if you want to do an experiment, you can do. If you have garden at home, you take 2 plants. One, you water that plant every day, and another one you just leave as it is without watering. After a few days, you will see the difference between them. The one which you have watered, it will be it will be big, or it will bloom flowers and fruits, and it will be look beautiful and fresh. And the one which you have not watered, it will get collapsed down, or it may die also. So you can see the difference yourself by doing a small experiment. Okay, so this is why water is important. The first point goes water for support. Now the next point comes here is water for photosynthesis. As I have already explained what photosynthesis and what the role of water is in photosynthesis, you know that without water, the process of photosynthesis cannot take place. What happens? Water, what it do? It combines with carbon dioxide and it produces glucose or carbohydrates, which are what? Which are the suppliers of energy for the plant. Now, if there is less amount of water, or if there is scarcity of water for the plant, what will happen? The process of photosynthesis will not take place. The plant will not produce carbohydrates, and they will not get enough of the food, because of which they will die out. Right? Yes, so water is also very important for the process of photosynthesis to occur. Going to the next point, we have water for transport. Transport. As I have said, what happens after they make glucose or sugar, what happens to it? They transport it to the different parts of the plant, right? How they do? They transport it through the water itself. See, as I have said, the plants, what they do, they pull or they extract or they absorb soil from the water. They not only absorb water, but along with water, what goes? Goes some minerals or some nutrients, okay, or some mineral salts. And when the plant extracts it through the roots, along with the water, the minerals and the nutrients are also transported to the different parts of the plant. This is how the plant gets the mineral salts. How? Through the water. As I have said, like in the humans, what we have? We have blood for circulating food and all things. Similarly, the plants have water which help them to transport or circulate these throughout the plant body. How it happens? Inside the plants, they have long tubes, okay? Inside the plants, they have long tubes which are known as xylem. These long tubes help them to transport the water, sugar or glucose or carbohydrates, minerals, everything through the different parts of the plant body. Okay? Now, the last one we have here is water for cooling. Water for cooling means the plants cool themselves. When it is very hot, they cool themselves by a process which is known as transpiration. Transpiration. Now, in the summer days, what we humans do, when it's too hot, we start sweating, right? We sweat. The excess water in our body, it goes out or it evaporates into the atmosphere. Similarly, this process also occurs in the plant body, and that is known as transpiration. Transpiration means it is the loss of water. It is the loss of water from the surface of the leaves into the atmosphere by water vapor. The waters get evaporated or they escapes from the cells into the atmosphere, which helps the plant to cool down themselves as well as the surrounding. Similarly, as I've said, similarly as we humans, we sweat and then we cool down. Similarly, the plants also, they lose water through the process of transpiration and then they cool down themselves as well as the surrounding. Now, why this process is important to take place? If this process does not take place, if the plants did not cool themselves, what will happen? The leaves will not be able to open the tiny pores which were known as the stomata. The opening and the closure of the stomata will be stopped. The leaf will stop working. If the temperature is very high, the leaf will stop working. And then the plant may die out. So, it's very important for the survival of plants in hot climate also or in hot environment. So, this is the process by which plants, they cool down themselves. So, these are the importance or these are the uses of water for plants. Not only this, there are many more uses of water for plants, like the germination of seed or providing a large habitat for the water body plants, etc., etc. So, water is the lifeblood of all the plants. So, today we have learned about the need or the importance of water for the plants. So, in this process we have learned, firstly what we have learned in this video. In this video you will get to learn about, firstly we will get to learn about photosynthesis, which is the process by which plants make food for themselves with the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, and the byproducts which we get are oxygen and sugar. Secondly, we have learned about fertilizers. We have learned about fertilizers. Fertilizers were chemical substances which are used by the farmers to increase the productivity of the plant or to make the plant grow healthier and larger. And finally, we have learned about the importance of water for the plants. It will be we cannot overestimate the importance of water in the life of the plants. See, 90% of the plant is made up of water and only 5% is used for the photosynthesis. And the plants use more water than animals. So in this video we have learned about photosynthesis, fertilizers and the importance of water for the plants.